John Caldwell now, Fox News political analyst. David Carlucci, former New York State Senator. Great to see you both. David, I'm going to start with you.
Good to be with you.
You know, the problem of losing votes at a time like this with all of the headwind against President Biden and those low poll numbers, what do you make of what Joe Manchin just said?
Well, all this talk about spoilers, my spoiler alert is that a third party will not spoil the chances for Democrats in 2024. Look, Democrats have seen this movie before. We're talking about 2016 and Jill Stein, and I think Democrats know the consequences, did not take it seriously in 2016, thought Hillary Clinton was going to beat Donald Trump, and really sat back. 2024 is a different story. And I think Democrats, that's why you see them so united behind President Biden. And these third parties are not going to really make a difference. Cornel West, he's talking from the left. But I think people see that, hey, our best chance of getting these policies into reality will be with another Joe Biden term.
You know, I thought it was interesting yesterday. James Carville said something that I saw. He said that Democrats need to be worried because actually when you look at the numbers of voters in the midterms, they weren't all that great. He doesn't think that those types of numbers could beat, say, presidential candidate Donald Trump.
Yeah. You know what's interesting, Harris? I'm going to have to fully disagree with David's assertion. First and foremost, this isn't 2020 where you had COVID and ballot harvesting. We're not going to go back to that place. In 2020, Joe Biden got 92% of the black vote. 34% of those folks believe that his policies have helped. Only 34%. Less than half of black people want to see him run again, and only 37% of Hispanics want to see him run again. Joe Biden is in trouble. Everyone knows that. I know the media wants to put on a good face. I know the Democratic Party, like David, wants to put on a good face with their talking points, but they are in trouble. And Joe Manchin definitely has an axe to grind. I'll never forget that interview you had with him, Harris, on the Inflation Reduction Act, and you said, hey, how do you know that the White House is going to keep its promises? And he was pushing back on you, and come to find out, Joe Biden lied to him. I mean, unsurprising to me, and I'm sure many other people who watch this channel, but they're going to be in some real trouble. They got to galvanize this support. Otherwise, these Green Party, Cornel West, and Joe Manchin, if he decides to run, they are going to have an outsized impact on this race.
Well, and you couple that, just real quickly, David, with the siphoning that potentially could happen if somebody like who's got 20% of the projected vote right now, Bobby Kennedy Jr., and along with Marianne Williamson. I mean, you put them together, they have over 28% of what would be a vote if it were held today. So it is an interesting spot to be in, talking about where Biden is and if he can get the votes. All right, let's go to the vice president, because for many Democrats, she would be the backup. Well, and I think pretty much every administration, you would think that the VP might, you know, go into the race if the current president decides he's not going to go all the way. Kamala Harris's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad week is rolling on with steam. Critics roasting her for railing against what she calls absolutely unacceptable airplane bathrooms. No mention of those other big crises facing America, like the real ones. The border mess, the danger there with fentanyl and the cartels basically running it. She's supposed to be working to solve that. She's the border czar. President gave her that job. Nothing on the crime surge across America, particularly in blue cities, or inflation still above the Fed's target. She did take time to explain this tricky concept.
Transportation is fundamentally about just making sure that people have the ability to get where they need to go. It's that basic.
Users lit up social media. Here it goes. Genius level commentary there. First grade vocabulary class, and we're just one trip on a sandbag away from this being our president. That's the last tweet there. This kind of Kamala-splaining is really nothing new, but this week seemed to hit a different level.
You need to get to go. I need to be able to get where you need to go. The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time. Culture is a reflection of our moment and our time, right? And present culture is the way we express how we're feeling about the moment. I think the first
part of this issue that should be articulated is AI is kind of a fancy thing. It's, first of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence.
So we've got a montage of previous there. She did the cultural thing more recently as well. I'll go in reverse order now. Gianno.
I just think it's sad, Harris, and I take no solace in the fact that she's failing. The fact that you had a lot of black Americans and white liberals who were bamboozled into supporting a Biden ticket because of her, thinking that there was going to be something great that came out of her, first woman president, black when she wanted to be black, Asian all other times. This has become, I think, a disaster for this administration, and the fact that she could potentially be president is scary to a lot of Americans. I don't think she can handle herself much better than Joe Biden can. So where do we go from here? I don't know. I mean, they're stuck.
David.
Well, I think Republicans are going down a dangerous rabbit hole for a couple of reasons. Number one, we're talking about the delivery and not the deliverables. Kamala
what
Harris,
has she delivered
the Biden
exactly?
administration
There is none.
What has she done, David? Not the president, but the vice president.
Well, it's a whole team. It's a
No,
whole team.
no, no,
And
no,
number
no, no, no,
two
no.
is
If
the
she
fact-
runs in his
we
place,
could talk about the
it's
CHIPS
her.
Act. We could talk about
She got that done?
But again, we talked about this was talked about in 2020. And what happened? The same circumstance.
She wasn't vice president.
People said the
then.
same thing, and President Biden won. But she was on the ticket with him. So same plan of attack by Republicans. It didn't work in 2020.
The expectation
Why is it
for
gonna work
somebody
in
on the ticket,
2024?
and then more than 2 years in, is that they have done something that you can name. And you're one of the brightest people that I know coming
there's
onto this
multiple
program.
things. Well,
you've held office before, and you can't name one thing.
David is trying out for Saturday Night Live right now. That's what we're getting.
Well, next time we'll start with you naming.
John Calhoun, 191-year record.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, I have to let you go.
In tie-breaking votes in the Senate.
I'm going to watch this segment later and laugh a lot.
All right. I got to get to breaking news.
Thanks for the humor.
David,
Thanks for having me. Good to
Gianno.
talk with you guys.